I'm April Patterson, and I grew up in the cowboy world. My last name used to be Bach. So my dad's a four-time world champion. He has went to the national finals rodeo 30 times. He actually holds the record. So I have been in the cowboy world all of my life. Like I know the cowboy world. So I started a magazine, Rodeo Fame, which I always wanted to go to Africa. I thought I was gonna go somewhere else in another country. That didn't happen. My mom's like, just use what you got. So I used the cowboy world, and I love our industry, and I've wanted to protect our way of life. So Rodeo Fame, that's what Rodeo Fame does. We tell stories on the Cowboys, and we just talk about the lifestyle. And then through that, we started doing the galas, and then Forever Cowboys came along with maximizing the Cowboys' influence to impact the world. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm Steve Stone, and I started the BHBA, the Buck North Breeders Association, in 2016. It's a Buck North registry. I started that, but before that, I was the bass player for the Casey Donahue band. I played music. I lived on the road and played music for 17 years. But I started the Buck North registry because I, again, just like April, have grown up in the rodeo world and around the rodeo industry. So I always loved it. And so I saw a need for that registry, so I started that. But through that, I started a 501c3, the BHBA Freedom Foundation, which is a nonprofit where we rescue girls that are trafficked and among other ministries. But that's just one thing we do. But that's all stems from the Buck North registry, and so we just use, like you, I used my influence in the rodeo world with that registry as a platform to make a difference in the world.
Yeah. And I really want to give a shout out to the industry we're in. There's so many good cowboys and cowgirls that have used their influence that we wouldn't be here right now. Like the money raising stuff, they used their influence at the gala to spread the word. So I really appreciate how awesome our industry has been, how supportive they've been.
Yeah.
Some of you already know our relationship with the gala and his foundation, but basically we're gonna sit here on his prayer bench because everything in life, I think, should start with a vision and prayer. And I know that's how it started with us, with your organization, with Rodeo Fame, and with Forever Cowboys with my dad, Alan Bach, and Peggy Bach. But yeah, we're gonna tell you guys where we started with BHBA in the gala that we've done in Las Vegas, and why we're here actually is the problem in the world, human trafficking. So please tell them, because some of them might not know, what are some of the brief facts about human trafficking in the foster system?
Well, human trafficking looks different in every country, within every culture. It looks different. If you're, for instance, if you're in India, it's going to look a lot different than it does. But what you're talking about today is the foster care system here in America, and so I think kids can just get lost in that system. I'm not poking fun at anybody like CPS workers. Listen, they're overworked. It's a lot, it's a lot to do. But I will say that the majority of kids that we've found that have been trafficked here in America as either within the foster system or they've aged out of the foster care system. For instance, I can tell you in the last few months, our people have rescued 2 girls off the streets in America, and with what one common denominator they had was that they had aged out of the foster care system. I feel like it's a problem. It's so huge, but it's a problem that we should do something about. And the fact that it exists is evidence that we just overlooked this problem. I mean, I think there's right at 30,000 kids that age out of the foster care system in America a year, that age out, that are emancipated from the state, so they age out. Well, if they don't have a plan, or if they don't have anywhere to go, then it's overlooked.
Yeah, and it's all about relationships. relationships. Like with Forever Cowboys, I was sharing with you about that. It's all about relationships, and a lot of the foster kids, when they age out, they've aged out. Why? Because nobody's adopted them. They have no family.
Right.
There's nobody that cares about them. And so this is what absolutely breaks my heart, and to me this shouldn't be happening. So if you're a Christian or if you're not a Christian, it doesn't matter, you should care. But the Bible does talk about how important it is to just watch over orphans and widows.
Correct.
Okay, at least let's do that. And what burns, like my heart burns for these kids, because I grew up always being loved. There's never been one day when I didn't know how loved I was. It's wrong for a child to go through the foster system and not really know how loved they are. And then when they get out, they have no relationships, so they end up being very vulnerable to trafficking. So that's why it's happening.
That's right. And I think if you look into it, the majority of kids that have aged out have probably been in multiple foster care houses.
Oh.
I would say it's probably pretty rare that they stay in the same foster house their entire childhood.
Yeah, I was talking to a lady yesterday who's actually in it, a caseworker. She said on average, I believe it's at least 10 homes. At least 10 homes. And that she said one boy she was talking to the other day said he lost count. He has no idea how many homes that he was in.
So really, in the foster care system, their one steady relationship they have, even going through all those homes, would be their caseworker. Well, when they're emancipated or when they age out, I guess that relationship goes away too.
But there is hope, and that's the whole reason why I started Rodeo Fame, was to use the industry that I grew up in, because this is all I've ever known. And so I believe in our cowboy industry, like Ty and Paige Murray, that have been the co-chairs from day one. They have used their influence to really bring awareness. Year one, 2018, tell us where we were with the project
in Belize. Okay, I'll say this. First of all, we do a project in Belize, which is in Central America. It's a developing country. And a lot of people watching this may say, why Belize?
Yeah.
Okay, here's why in Belize. Belize is a developing country that it's a hotbed for human trafficking. I mean, it's a hotbed. And the reason, there are multiple reasons. First of all, a big part of their culture is Mayan. In the Mayan culture, when their girls get old enough that they go through puberty, then they sell their kids, whether that's by the night, by the weekend, or outright sell them, or try to get some older man and they arrange some relationship, and it's all for money. And I'll say this, that there's been zero convictions of anybody being trafficking kids in Belize. It's a hotbed for human trafficking. It's a hotbed for sexual tourism. You go over there as a middle-aged white American or European, they think that's why you're there. And so the law doesn't do anything about it. In the brothels where they actually traffic the kids, the police officers work security at them. So it's not like something you're going to go tell the law about. My point is, if you ask my beliefs, if your family's not going to protect you, and the law's not, well then who?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And so I believe, if you want to know why we go into belief, really because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And if we don't, no one else is coming.
You said it really good about how we believe in freedom and
independence.
Independence.
That's correct.
And we have, yes, it's good that we have freedom and independence, but we need to fight for those who
have never experienced either.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's when we started in Belize. And so when we started in 2018 at the gala, we already had some stuff going on in Belize. We have a pregnancy center where we take young girls that are pregnant, and we provide for them, whether it be clothes, food, whatever, through their whole pregnancy, you know, on into their life to when the baby's a year old. I mean, we stay involved. Well, through that, we realized there's a lot of trafficking going on there. And so in 2018, when I came to the gala and we partnered up, since then, we found land there. We found some land there, and we wanted to build some safe houses, some houses that we could actually, when those girls come in our pregnancy center, one of the problems we were running into is when they come there, we don't have anywhere for them to stay. So we provide for them, and we love them, and we pray with them, and we do all this with them, but we provide help. But we were having to just let them go live in whatever hell they're living in.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that we could do. So we wanted to provide a place that's safe, that we could put these girls, and they don't have to go live in whatever situation that they were living in, that we could provide them hope, that we could provide them freedom and independence through things that we teach them while they're there.
Yeah.
You know, in our pregnancy center, the girls that are coming in there, we have over 150 girls coming in there a month. Okay, so the land that we bought in the safe houses that we're able to build, and we're going to put 6 on this property,
yeah.
It's still just barely scratching the surface. I mean, if we put 60 houses, it wouldn't even be enough. So yes, we're doing something, but there's so much more that we need to do.
Yeah.
But we were able to buy the land. But the first year we did the so y'all, the gala supported a sewing class.
Yeah.
So what we also do in Belize is we have a sewing school. We take 6 girls at a time, and it's 3 months long. 3 months. They go 3 months, and at the end of the sewing school, we teach them to make shirts, dresses, all kind of. They teach them to make clothes. And at the end of the sewing school, at the end of 3 months, when they graduate, they make their own cap and gowns for the graduation, and they keep their sewing machine, so they can actually. Awesome. So not only are we providing freedom, but that's the independence.
Yeah.
Something to do to make a living, because without, when we talk about freedom and independence, you can set somebody free, but if they don't have independence, they won't be free long.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true.
They won't be free long, because you got to be able to take care of yourself. And so we're teaching them trades like that.
Our heart at Forever Cowboys and Rodeo Fame is that whenever we start projects like this, we don't just start them and then we're out of there. So my heart and my job is to get the cowboy world plugged in, like with the youth that we talk to at our Forever Cowboys camp. We're going to give them the opportunity to be able to go to these places and actually do a mission trip, you know. Sure. So if you guys are interested, we want to continue to support this project and the love on these girls, and to actually see them through to success. Like, talk to them. What are your dreams? And we want to help them succeed. That's exactly. Right. Not just free them, but show them how to live free.
The way we're doing it at that particular project is, there's been a local farmer. He's going to plant some stuff there on our property in the garden that's going to actually pay the girls to grow it. And I wish I could tell you the name of it, but I can't even pronounce it. But it's kind of like a potato chip once they're done with it. It's a root. Anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is good. And what's cool is all the girls. Okay, so the property now has a driveway in it, and it's completely fenced, so it's very safe. And we have a couple that live there that keep foster kids, so it's somewhat of a small orphanage, that live on the property, that are going to actually mentor the girls. But what we're teaching the girls is, and now again, these girls come through our pregnancy center, so they have a baby. So we're teaching them, okay, we're going to work today. Which mama's going to watch all the girls, all the babies? And so, and so we teach them community.
Yeah.
And to be contributors, not just consumers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so who's watching the babies today? And so they do that, and then we teach them different trades, how to make money. But the cool thing is, it's like, so for instance, let's just say that we were going to charge them, and I'm just throwing these numbers out there, don't quote me on any of this, but let's say that the rent for that house on our property would be like $500 a month. Let's just say that. Okay, well, what we're doing with them is, once we teach them to work and they start, we'll say, okay, the rent on that house is $500 a month, but you don't have to pay that for the first 3 months. But once 3 months is up, you pay $100.
Okay.
Okay, and then like 6 or 8 months from now, we need to pay $200.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that to make money. Obviously, that money's going right back in it.
Yeah,
but we're teaching them that you really can make it. You can make it work. Because here's the thing: if we just help them for a year, 2 years, and then turn them loose, that's just not. That's just not helping.
Yeah. So okay, so year one, with the gala, you were able to buy sewing machines and then get the property.
We bought the property, and the reason, and I'll tell you this, we're a little bit behind where we wanted to be now, and it was because of COVID. But we bought the property, we put a driveway in, we fenced it, it's secure. The young couple that's going to mentor them, that's keeping the foster kids, they now live there on the property. We have 2 more houses that will be complete probably in the next week or 2. Actually, they're almost complete now. In fact, I got a message just yesterday. They were sheetrocking the insides of them. They're almost complete. So we'll have girls living in those here in the next 30 days. There'll be girls living. Yeah.
When the kids age out of the foster system, so like we've already talked about, 30,000 roughly age out every year. Mm-hmm. So out of the 30,000, the 3 main things happen to them. They either become homeless, they either commit suicide, or they're trafficked. Okay? So that's why we want to get to the root cause. And when they age out, we want to take care of them.
And when they age out, just because they've been in the foster care system, they're not bad kids.
No.
The problem is, I think, is when they age out, all the statistics you just gave. For instance, I'll give you another one, that if they've been in custody of the state, if they've been in the system, they can go to any state university for free. I mean, the state will pay for that. But here's the thing, 6% of them actually go, and 3% graduate from college. Now, I'm not here saying that college is for everybody, because it isn't.
Yeah.
But you would think that more of them would go.
Yeah.
So why don't they? And here's why I believe. I believe because they don't have a mentor. They don't have anyone that cares enough about them individually and their own dreams and their own desires to say, what are you good at and what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Because let's help you get there. And that's where we come in. We're going to build homes out here on this ranch. And we're not going to try necessarily to make cowboys out of anybody. That's just who we are.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're going to try to make out of anybody. What we're going to do is say, what has God gifted you for? And what are your dreams? And what do you want to know? What do you want to be good at? There's things that, like I read, where, the state will put them through a trade school, a minimum, as long as the school has all these rules. And one of them it's a minimum of 6 months. And it's all this. I'm like, man, I know they're trying hard at this. But listen, it's got to be so relational. So what if a trade school or whatever only takes 3 months? You won't pay for that? I mean, that's silly. So to me, I just think there's not a cookie cutter way to do it. I think you build homes out here, just a safe place for them to live. And for instance, on this ranch, they'll work a garden. They'll grow their own vegetables. They grow their own beef. That's what happens here on this ranch. They grow all their own food. And it's not to make them farmers or ranchers. It's just to show them that they can do this.
Yeah.
And while doing that, let's find what they're good at and what they want to do.
Because they have a purpose.
Absolutely.
They have a calling. They just didn't have, unfortunately, for whatever reason, we don't know what happened to their parents, but they didn't have parents that were telling them how valuable they are. So like, I can't imagine my children, I tell them all the time, you have a purpose. I dream for them. I encourage them.
Yeah.
That's my heart as a mom for these kids, is that I always pretend like if something happened to me and my husband and we had no family to take care of our kids, would I trust the world, the church, to take care of my kids right now? Honestly, sadly, no. They're not doing a good job. We're not doing a good job taking care of orphans. But we are.
Whenever you're involved in this, it helps us make such a huge difference and impact in these young people. And it's really, honestly, not even measurable. I don't even know how you measure that. But I can tell you this. The reason we want people like you to be involved with us is because we don't get state and government funding, nor would I. Because with the government funding it, comes with all those rules and regulations that, well, let me tell you this, how well has it worked out so far? You need to love a kid.
Yeah.
You know, you just got, you got to know that this is going to be messy. This is going to be messy, and you just got to be willing to get your heart broken and get in there and get involved.
And what I've had on my heart for a long time is people always want to blame God or the government or whoever for the issues in the world. Well, if you don't like something in the world, look in the mirror, because the answer is looking at you every day. Like, we have the resources, we have the capacity to love. We just haven't done it, you know. And so, but we are going to do it. And I love what you say. It's not even, how do you even measure what we're going to be doing here with these kids? Right. You know what? These kids, I don't need anybody to, I don't need to be held on the pedestal. I don't need none of that fame. None of that means anything to me. But if I know that a child knows that they're loved because of what we're doing, that's why I'm doing it. Because nobody should go their whole life without knowing that they're loved and valuable and they have a future. And that's what we're going to do. I want to talk about for a minute. So whenever people ask me, they're like, oh, well, how many kids are you guys, or how many women or whatever do you have housed in Belize, you know? So in the beginning, when I say the number, I kind of see it on their face sometimes, like, well, that's not a very big number.
That's right.
Do you know just how much it would mean to you? You're one person. If you were in the most horrible situation and somebody dropped everything to rescue you, you're one life. One life is worth so much. And it sounds so cliche, but we really need to think about the ripple effect. Just like what we're starting here, one good act of kindness. Like, you have no idea what the cure to cancer could be in one of those girls that are in the safe house in Belize.
Absolutely. The ripple effect, it changes for generations. It changes people for generations. Think about, okay, for instance, our sewing school. One of our sewing schools, one of the girls that went through our sewing school now teaches our sewing school. Isn't that cool? I mean, she's changed forever.
What's really cool now, the longest runway, that's another project we're doing with fashion. We're going to do it on ranches all over the United States. The first one was at Ty Murray's ranch. Well, what's awesome is now these girls, you guys have helped buy the sewing machines. Well, now they're sewing. Well, this fall, we're actually going to have some of the clothing that they've sewn is going to be in the longest runway. Half-hour show. It's going to be on there. You know what that could do in their hearts when they see what they've sewn on TV?
Yeah. You're talking about girls that had no value in themselves, and now they see that. I mean, that's just not measurable. You know, when you say, well, I mean, like, how much impact we possibly have with this one girl? Well, you might not be able to change the world, but you changed hers forever.
Yeah.
You know, so it's going to be, it's going to be great. And it's going to be so immeasurable, the difference, when those girls see something that they've done.
Yeah. So what I want to end with is just telling you guys about Forever Cowboys. So Forever Cowboys, you've seen right here an example. This is one cowboy and all the amazing things that he's doing with his ministry. But we really want to encourage you guys to support Forever Cowboys, because Forever Cowboys is all about maximizing the Cowboys' influence to impact the world. And when you support Forever Cowboys, we are going to continue to support guys like Steve Stone and other guys out there, cowgirls too, that are using their influence to make a huge impact in the world.
Yeah, and just remember, we only have one shot at this life. We don't get to do this again. So, and let's make as big of a difference as we can make while we're here. It's important.